Well, believe it or not, Christmas is in the air and I've got a few orders to work on. Let's get started. Well, good morning. Welcome back here to the shop. I'm over at the bench and it seems like it's been quite a while since we've been over in this area working, but here we are. And I went ahead and pulled down my order sheets from my cabinet over on the far wall there. You probably have seen that in the background. That's where I keep all of my orders that are coming in so that I keep track of, what I'm doing. So I'm looking here. This is the beginning of October. And I've got 2 medium horses I have to build and a small on bow rockers. Now the small one is pretty well, it's almost done. The only thing I have to do on that is build these small set of bow rockers out of cherry. The horse is in the paint booth. It's got its base coat on it. It's going to be a dapple gray. I'm not going to get into painting that one. I think we've covered that enough, how to paint a dapple gray. So I'm going to spare you that and I'll just go ahead and get it painted and get it finished. So I have a nice piece of cherry pulled down. So we'll go ahead today. We're going to get this material planed, go over to the new joiner. We'll see how that works out. Start, getting used to that, having that here in the shop. And we'll go ahead and get our bow rockers cut out for the small horse. Then I've got a medium horse on bow rockers. They're going to be on oak bow rockers. And then I've got a medium horse that's going to be on a glider stand. The glider stand we're going to build out of poplar because we're going to paint that. So that's what we've got going on so far. We'll see if we can get these all put together here for Christmas, at least, of course, these two. The other one's just about done, so we're going to be crating that up and shipping it out. So right now, let's go ahead and get this material thrown up on the chop saw, get it cut, head over to the planer, and of course, the routine, planer, joiner back over here, and we'll start getting this small bow rocker cut out. 36 inches is what we need. This is nice because this board is 11.5 inches wide. So on small ball rockers, I can get 2 of the, the rockers, the bows out of them. So this will be plenty of material to get this built. There we go, there's our 2 halves. So we'll go ahead, we've got our template here, we'll go ahead and get these laid out, and then we'll go over and get our bandsaw set up. Again, 10 degree angle. I'm sure you've heard me say that a lot. One thing I did want to mention and maybe ask you all, I'm kind of kicking around the idea of changing the name of our channel here. When I was first getting this all set up and talking about it with my family about what to name this, I really wanted to show the fun side of woodworking. On YouTube you can find just about anything. If you need to learn something or you want to see something, there's anything and everything. So my intention was I wanted to show the fun side of woodworking and also show some of what I get into and what goes on here at the shop. And that's why I named it the Greenfield Pickle Factory. And I think we're still going to do that. Maybe we'll bring that back in another capacity at some point. But I'm kind of kicking around the idea of just going to like Greenfield Woodworks Studio or something along that line. Because, as busy as I've been and just kind of showing you all what I do here, I really haven't been, putting some of the pickles and some of the craziness that does go on here. I really haven't been getting into that or showing you all. And there really hasn't been too much of that going on, thankfully. So, like I said, maybe comment down below, let me know what your thoughts are. But maybe we'll change the name. Thankfully, YouTube, that's an option now apparently that they've done, a new option. So I can go in and change the name without hurting anything as far as the algorithm and all that good stuff in there. So I can change the name. But yeah, I'm thinking about just changing it to Greenfield Woodworks Studios. So, and then like I said, maybe down the road, some different things will pop up. We'll call them pickles and we'll do that. But for now, I think we'll just keep on I hate to say the serious side of the shop here, but we'll keep it more informative and a how-to kind of a thing. So again, comment down below, tell me what your thoughts are, what you think, and I'll see you over at the bandsaw. Well, I guess before I can cut those bow rockers out, I need to clear a space here. I've got so much scrap wood built up here. Winter's coming quick, and maybe I'll talk to my wife and maybe we'll do a little fire out on the back deck tonight or tomorrow night. I need to burn some of this scrap wood up. I can't believe how quick it's getting cold. The winter, the weather's changed. It's been in the, I don't know, 50s. It's been getting down to the 40s at night. So, I mean, winter's coming quick this year. Okay, got the bandsaw all set up here. Set my height. And again, I've said this before, I'll just go over it real quick again. We're going to go through one way and cut these on a 10-degree angle. Then we're going to turn the board around and we're going to do the opposite direction. Okay, so you can see this is the way I went through on my bandsaw. I sent the piece through. Here's the middle of one of the bows, and then here's the end where the turning goes. So now I'm going to flip this around so that here's the end where our turning goes, and again down here is the middle of the bow. So that's the way we're going to run this one through, so it's the opposite direction. Just so hopefully that's a little bit more clear. Okay, so there's our last one for the bow rockers. And while I was cutting that one out, I was thinking to myself, I've got a medium oak bow rocker to make, and since I've got the bandsaw already tilted, I think I'd be better off, let's just go ahead. I've got to jump up top here, and I've got a wide piece of oak up there. Why don't I just jump up there, grab that, and let's just start laying that one out and get that cut out so that, you know, while I'm working on the small one, again, you know me, might as well work on two since, you know, I'm already working on one. So I'll jump up there, I'll grab that piece of oak, and then we'll just go through the whole routine again, plane it and bring it over, and let's just cut those out. Wow, this is a lot of oak. Come on. Whew. My goodness, that board. It's an 18.5-inch red oak board. Let me tell you, it's all there too. Okay, so we'll grab our template. Okay, here's our template. Pencil, there it is. Well, I can almost get 3 out of this. I think I can. That'll be close. So we'll just go 48. Okay, now, being that I have a 15-inch planer and this oak here is 18 and a half or so, I'd sure like to get 3 out of it. So I'm going to lay it out and see how tight I can get my bows. And I think what I can do then is, let's just go ahead before we plane it, maybe I can cut one out on the bandsaw. Let's see, where'd that go? There it is. Yeah, we can cut one out on the bandsaw. Got plenty of room. And then we can run everything through the planer and then come back and recut it. So I'll make this one nice and dark. That saves me from having to cut another 4-foot chunk off of this just for one bow. So now I've got plenty of material, and I have other stuff on the other side of the camera here on the wall, other oak that I can use, you know, for slats, for the turning, for, you know, all of that. Okay, so the plan is going to be, I'm just going to cut one bow out, and I'm going to cut it, I've got plenty of room here, so I'm just going to cut it wide, and then we can run it all through the planer. Okay, go ahead and get this big chunk of oak out of our way. Okay, now we can go ahead and finish our layout. we go, perfect. That gives us 3. Now we just need 1 more, and we'll go ahead and I'll just cut a section out of that, unless I can find another piece around here somewhere. I don't think I do, but I'd rather cut a section out of that big plank than, you know, cut it right in half. So let me go ahead, I'll set these aside and let's get that done. I did have a piece over there, but it's about 2 inches too short in width, so it's fine. Let's just go ahead and we'll cut it out of this. I'll just get my little cordless saw, and then we still have, you know, all of this that we can use for the rest of the rocker. Okay, there's our piece, ready to go. There's our 4th one. Let's head back over to the bandsaw now, and let's cut these all out. I just noticed here that my bearing here in the back is not running right here, so I think it just needs a good cleaning and some oil. Make sure that, you know, bandsaws, you got to make sure that these things are tuned. I always keep these roller bearings oiled. Make sure that they're all running or you'll just burn through your blade. Just give it a little squirt. Now let's see how that does. Get this set again. Okay, and there's our fourth bow for our bow rockers. So we've got everything ready to go. What we need to do now is just square up the ends and, you know, glue these together. Remember, I use a pocket hole screw or a pocket hole jig when I join these two halves together. A little bit of glue, a couple of pocket hole screws, and then we're going to go back and, you know, build the box. That's the cleat and the stretchers. And I know it's not too exciting, but you know, this is what it is right now. So we'll go ahead, and this is kind of a, think of it as a refresher course. So we'll go ahead and get these all put together and get them hung up, and then we'll move on to the box. This saw has a laser line, and that really does make it really handy to get an accurate cut. Okay, there's that. Let me grab the pocket hole jig, and then we'll get that set up, and we'll put these halves together. Okay, so we've got these cut. We're ready to go ahead and drill in our pocket holes. And you want to make sure that you get the correct side. You want to mark the inside so that you drill in your pocket holes on the right side. Ask me how I know. So I always put a couple of, marks there, a couple of X's, so I know that's the inside. And just kind of mount it to the jig. And then we'll drill them out. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue one side and put a couple of screws in. The other side, I'm going to just screw it together dry because, again, we're going to put these together. We're going to book match them and see how close they are. Help if I put a clamp on it. These I'm using 1.5 inch pocket hole screws. There we go. Good. Now, this is, again, a nice little tip, a nice little trick I've showed you before. But again, it really does help when you're trying to make, a perfect set of bow rockers. And I can already see this one is sitting higher over here. So that means I need to cut these back here a little bit and bring that rocker down just a little bit. Okay, and if you noticed, I took it off of both sides. I just took about 1/2 degree off of both sides. And let's just see where we're at now. There we go. That looks fantastic. I'll bring it over here and show you, again, get you in a little bit closer so that you can see, again, what I'm doing, and hopefully this helps you. Okay, so again, what I did is I'm lining up my two joints here on either side, and then I'm making sure here that both these sides are very close. Just like a book. That's why it's called book match. So that's real close. A little bit of sanding on both of these will make those really even. And then if we come over on this side, same thing. We look really good all the way around, and it feels good. So I'll go ahead now and take these back apart, put a little bit of glue in there, and reclamp and secure these, and then hang them up to dry. Now we'll do the same thing with our cherry rocker. Mark our inside. There we go. We've got our 2 sets of bow rockers all cut out. Rough cut at least, and we got those all put together. So tomorrow when I get in here to the shop, then we'll start on building, again, the box, and we'll go over that again, and how I get these and how I straighten it all out. So we'll do that tomorrow, but for now we'll go ahead and set these aside to dry, and we'll come back and hit it hard tomorrow. Well, this is definitely a great way to end the day.
I agree. It's nice and warm by the fire.
It's perfect. We had a beautiful sunset tonight. I was trying to hurry to get it on to record it, but it kind of went away. There's still a little bit of the vivid blue over there. I've got some pictures. My wife took some pictures too, and I'll put those on this because it was just amazing. It looked great.
Gorgeous. It had the band of like the burnt orange with this blue ocean below it, but the blue didn't show out, but the orange is absolutely gorgeous.
But I've got lots of scraps, so I think we're going to be sitting here for a little while. And I brought out 2 barrels. I've got about this much more, if not more, to burn. So I think we'll be sitting out here for a little while, but that's okay.
That's some of the funnest part of it.
Yeah. I mean, this is the best part of fall.
Yeah.
But of course, too, we're sitting here and it's really peaceful and calm, but we cannot help but think of the families that have been affected down in Florida and down south. So you all are in our thoughts and prayers, no doubt about it.
Our son is down in Georgia, and I think they're going to get close to that band that's coming from South Carolina. So,
but they're not going to get near the,
not near the devastation.
Goodness.
Gosh.
Awful, but you've
been through a number of them, and it's not fun.
Definitely, we are definitely thinking of you all down south.
Yes.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us this evening. Tomorrow, I'm going to get into the shop, and then we're going to start building the center section of the bow rockers. We got those built today. We got the bows built, and so tomorrow I always tell them it's called the box. You've seen me do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's going to be tomorrow, and we'll try to get as much done on those as we can. Might even start getting material ready for the medium glider. And so we may try to get into that tomorrow too. I don't know. It just depends on if I get a full day or whoever interrupts me. I don't know. So we'll just see. But we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah. Have a good night.
It's the next day, and we're back here picking up where we left off from last night. We're going to start building, again, the box for the center of our bow rockers. So right now, I'm going to be working on the medium oak bow rockers. We did the bows yesterday, so now I'm going to build the cleats that will go in between the 2 bows and join that seam together. I always like to use, of course, my scrap that I used as far as cutoffs, and so we'll go ahead. I've got my template. We'll mark out the cleats, go back over to the bandsaw, get those cut out, and then we'll build the 2 stretchers, and we're going to build, the box. Over here at the bandsaw, you can barely make out my line. I can see it, but it might be hard for you on the camera. Maybe that helps. But again, I like to cut this wide. So I've already got enough distance down here at the bottom. And again, the reason I like to do that is when I go to clamp this all together, you know, I flip the bow rockers upside down on the bench, and then I'll level everything out. So that gives me room to adjust these cleats that I call a cleat. So I can adjust those, you know, up and down and get those bow rockers, you know, just nice and level. So I always cut these wide, and then once they're clamped and glued and the glue dries, then we can come back in and cut them to fit. It's nice to have my bins empty again. It was sure great to sit next to the fire last night and get all this scrap wood burned. So yeah, it's great to have these bins empty. Okay, there's our two cleats. Now we just need to make the two stretchers. And again, I've got some scrap oak over here against the wall. Let's see. That's cherry. And I managed to find a couple of pieces of scrap oak that I can use as my stretchers. So let's head over to the joiner and we'll get these edges joined, get them all cut the length, and then we'll come back over here and get this put together. Okay, we need to set our table saw at 3 1/4. And now we need 15 1/4. Okay, there are our two stretchers ready to go. Now, before we can put this box together, we need to put a back bevel on our cleats. Now again, the cleat is what is going in between the two, our bows here on the inside of our bows. So this is going to fit in here like that. And again, I call that the cleat. And we want to put a back bevel on these. And the reason we do that is this rocker, these rockers are set on a compound angle, and when we go to put these in, and the way it sits, they're actually going to kind of lean in a little bit and they won't be right. So we want to put a back bevel on them so it pushes these two stretchers out just a little bit, and trust me, everything will line up just right. So let's head over to the belt sander and we'll put a back bevel on our cleats, and then we can put this together. Okay, we've got our cleat clamped in our vise. Did you see the what I almost kind of screwed up here? Did you catch it? I didn't put the 10 degree, I just cut it, straight across, but you're supposed to put a 10 degree cut on our stretchers here, and I just get rolling along here and I just completely forgot about that. So yeah, so I went back and I put our 10 degree angle on our stretchers. So now we are good to go. So let's go ahead and get these countersunk. Sometimes I just get rolling and I just don't think. Again, I don't want to put any glue on this just yet. I want to go ahead and just kind of give it a dry fit. We're going to go ahead and once we get this built, then we'll put our bows up here on the bench. There we go. There is our box, and everything should be square. Now, the other thing we have to do before we can assemble this is, because we put a back bevel on our cleats, that means this part here on our stretcher is now high. So we need to sand this down so that it's flush with this plane here. So again, you can do this with a palm sander. I just so happen I have my benchtop belt sander, so I'll just take it over there. Maybe I'll just do it with the palm sander. Probably be just as easy. Let's do some 80 grit. There we go, looks good. That only took a few minutes to do. So let's go ahead, we'll get our bows down here and we'll start getting this all clamped together. Now, when I put this together, I just like using spring clamps. Again, we want to find our center line on the inside of our box so that we can line up the center line with our center line on the bows. So I've got it marked here on the template, so all I need to do is just go back and mark it. That looks pretty good. Can make a couple of marks on the outside, reference marks, so that we know where we are. A couple of clamps. And then we can do the same thing with the other bow. Okay, that looks really good. That looks all lined up. So, make my reference mark on this side. I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue down, and then we can get this all glued up permanently. Now remember, when you glue this, you don't want to glue, I try to keep my glue away from the end of this stretcher, because it may ooze out and then glue your stretcher to your bow rocker, and that can be a bit of a problem. Again, ask me how I know. Doesn't take a lot of glue. There we go. Just flip this around and do the other side. Now with our spring clamps in place, I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of my wood clamps, my good wood clamps on here. I'm going to put a couple of clamps on here and here, and then we're going to flip it up, and then we can line everything up, make sure everything looks good, and then we can go ahead and clamp it down tight. Again, I just think this is one of the easiest ways to build these. Comment down below, you know, if this is helping you, if you've ever thought about building a set of these. And again, love to know if you've built them, how you build them. There we go. Okay. Now I can tell already that this side needs to, our box needs to drop down just a little bit, and maybe bring this one up. It's sitting just a little bit, not much. Again, all I'm doing is trying to get it close. I know I've still got a lot of sanding here and to get everything right, but you know, even with where I cut on the bandsaw, I should be real close. And I'll tell you, that's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to go ahead and clamp that down tight. That looks good. Okay, I took you off the tripod here again so you can kind of look down and see what I'm looking at as well. Again, everything looks really good here. That's what I'm looking at. We should already be lined up here and here because of, you know, we centered everything up on the inside up there. So everything's centered. So everything should look good. And then once this dries, and we can pull the clamps off, then we can undo the screws, take our stretchers off, then we can go back over to the bandsaw and then cut, you know, our cleats and get them all flush, and then give it all a good sand. Well, I think that's where I'm going to leave things for this week. I'm going to stick around a little bit longer, finish out my day, and pull those little cherry bows over here and, build the blocks and get it to at least this stage, so that next week when we come into the shop, we can go ahead and pull our clamps, we'll pull the stretchers, then we'll take everything over to the bandsaw and cut them flush. And then, of course, give this all a nice final sand with our bandsaw. So that'll all be next week. We can pretty well get these finished up next week. At least that's the plan. And then maybe we can start building our horse that's going to fit on this one. Well, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you're getting something out of, again, how I build these bow rockers. I know I've done this before, but again, if you've ever done it or if you've thought about doing it, I think this is about the easiest way that I found to build them. And, you'll get them correct every time. So again, if you are getting something out of it, please think about giving this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Also, think about subscribing. And if you do, hit that bell so that you're notified whenever I post a new video. You can check me out on Instagram at Greenfield Woodworks, and my Pinterest page at Greenfield Woodworks, and of course my website, greenfieldwoodworks.com. Also, I want to hear your thoughts on maybe changing the name of this channel from the Pickle Factory to something like I Keep Rolling Around the Greenfield Woodworks Studio. So I'd love to know your thoughts on that too. So shoot me a comment down below. Well, that's going to do it for me. We'll see you here in the shop next week.